Counterfeit ballots in California. There's something fishy going on in the Golden State when it comes to elections, and we have an exclusive for you this morning with Shasta County Clerk Clint Curtis and White House Press Corp reporter Corrine Clifford. Let's start with you, Clint. I'm glad you both came on today to break this exclusive story. But, Clint, what's going on with these counterfeit ballots?
Well, I'm the county clerk there, which is also the register of voters, and we set a system in place that basically to defeat the machines where we count every ballot on camera before it ever touches the machine. So people can then do a comparison, make sure the machines can't flip the vote. But while doing that, a lot of the people that were doing the flipping kept calling me over and saying, something's wrong here. This ballot is 3 times thicker than a regular ballot, or the printing at the top is funny, or it smells funny, they just looked really odd. And we had rough ones as well, because all ballots should be exactly the same. That's the whole purpose of it. So you can't really take a ballot and decide where it went or who it came from. So we found all of that. Now we can't do anything in California. There's no code that allows me to actually look at it. So we just finished counting it, boxed it up, put it away, and we have contacted the FBI and DHS, but they're obviously different. I mean, it's not even close. They don't need a forensic expert to actually go through. You can go through with a blindfold and you find half of them. So,
And where
we're
where are
trying to
these
get people.
ballots being held now?
They are being held at my office, which is kind of problematic because it's a really old building and we have a lot of Antifa people. And one of the Antifa people that, comes in every now and then once commented how easy it'd be to burn that building down. And he's right. It's an old wooden building, so it could go up anytime. So we need to get those buildings pulled and analyzed. And if we can show that they're full of counterfeit ballots and some of them are really obvious, then I think we can put a stop to all of this craziness.
Listen, Vanessa, I've interviewed his whistleblowers and they are legitimate. There are affidavits, and these people know what they're talking about. They're election employees and some volunteers. And so, what he's saying is breaking news and it's very serious. We've called Homeland Security, we've called the FBI, and we've informed the feds because that's really who needs to come into California. Governor Gavin Newsom and Rob Bonta, the AG here, with their SOS, may try to confiscate the ballots before the feds come in. And that will be a major problem because they will destroy them. They don't want the truth to come out that these could be potentially counterfeit ballots.
And these are actually
Unbelievable.
not that, but these are not
Go
that
ahead.
poorly done. I mean, you can tell they're counterfeit because the paper and stuff, but it's fairly professional the way it's done. So I think it's a much bigger problem. I think once you find it in Shasta, you'll find it in LA, you'll find it all over the country. This may be the alternative cheat as opposed to just having to have the machine do the flipping.
Well, they found it in Maricopa, allegedly, and they found it in Fulton County, Georgia, allegedly. But now we found a ballot authenticator. So this is going to get really interesting.
And Corrine, I follow your social media page. You post a lot of what you're doing there on the ground on your X account. We have it pulled up right now. I encourage everyone to follow her and her reporting that she does there in California, and in this case, Shasta County. And one of your videos, you mentioned how the LA mayoral race really changed the way that you saw things. I mean, you already knew, we all did, that this election there in LA didn't look right from the start with Spencer Pratt. And so, as you started hitting the ground more and more there in California, then coming across Redding and Shasta County, you're seeing a lot more going on in your investigations. What all have you found? I know you said you talked to these whistleblowers. What are they telling you?
Whistleblowers in Shasta County are people who were paid to work the elections and volunteers. They're a mixture of both. And so what they're saying is very, very standard and very, very understandable. It's nothing airy fairy. They're saying that there's actually ballots that were put into the 2026 California primary. Now, Clint Curtis only has 4 drop boxes in Shasta County, California. So he's an incredible registrar, recorder, county clerk because he understands what needs to happen. But somehow, allegedly, these ballots got into the mix. Did they come from Sacramento? Were they stuffed in by a foreign country? Were they made in China? We don't know. But in Los Angeles, a different situation is happening because we don't have a friendly registrar recorder. We have a man there named Dean Logan who is not friendly at all. And in that situation, we're actually finding that Spencer Pratt, the potential mayor of Los Angeles that I really was praying would win. We're about to have Mondami 2.0 in LA with Nithya Raman if she wins. But anyway, he lost by 32,000 votes because people were paid to actually vote for Nithya Raman and Karen Bass and not vote for Spencer Pratt. So each situation is different. I haven't found anything like Serbia hacking any machines or anything, but we all know you don't use machines. And in Shasta County, he's at paper ballots. They don't use machines to actually vote, but the state of California forces them to use machines to tabulate the vote. And he actually tape records within 18 inches every ballot that he counts. So the way that Clint Curtis is doing this is incredible.
Yeah, sounds like it, Clint. And so I want to show this video. Corrine, I believe you took this video. Clint, it's of you in front of a room with 2 doors that says keep out. Tell us what we're seeing here. What's behind those doors? Is that where the ballots are being kept?
That's where the ballots are being kept. And when I came into this office in 2025, I ended up with these old employees, existing employees, legacy employees, whatever you want to call them, and they were not in favor of anything. They were the basic, don't let anybody see anything. They'll take charge of it. And later on, we were looking at videos and we're seeing them breaking into the ballot rooms and breaking into where we do the balancing and everything. And so that room actually has the same problem. If you had a credit card, they apparently have figured out a way to jimmy past the lock. So there's a security panel on the side of it, if you saw it in the picture, and that's what you're supposed to use to open the doors. But they were actually bypassing that, and that way no one can actually see who enters the building. So as soon as as soon as the ballots were all locked away, I didn't do it. I let them do it, and everything was secured in there. Then we locked that down. We taped it. We put signs on it. We put seals on it. And then I had facilities put an actual hasp lock on it. And then we took the lock and we destroyed the keys. When they put it on,
Wow.
they said, "Do I want the keys?" And I said, "I don't want the keys, and you don't want them either. We want to destroy them. Anybody who comes in needs a warrant and bolt cutters, and then they can have those ballots. But if the building burns down because of Antifa, all that effort really won't help."
Wow.
Coming here
What
today,
a
I
mess
saw the
there.
Antifa.
Anything from the FBI?
There's a
I'm
lot of
sorry. I was just going to
Antifa
ask
in
if
this
there was
town,
anything
Vanessa.
from the yeah, and I've seen your videos on that too, and the threats that they're making. Any word from the feds on when they'll be able to come look at these ballots?
Well,
Yeah, the FBI is already in and they're interviewing the whistleblowers. But Clint, what do you think? Do you think that DHS Homeland Security will come in? Because that's what we really want.
I'm hoping they'll come in because, the FBI will be looking for local things and DHS will be looking for more of a foreign interference. And I think there might be that because some of the ballots are very rough. Usually a ballot's kind of slick. I don't know if you've done a lot of paper ballots, but they're kind of slick and they have little things on them. But there's a lot of them that are real rough to the fingers as well. So I don't know what bamboo fibers feel like. I've heard some that had it, but it's more fibery than the other paper we use. And the markings are strange as well because in Shasta County we use squares as opposed to circles. And people do real good with circles, filling in circles. They don't do so great with squares as far as getting them perfect, right? There's a little here, off a little there. We have ballots that are actually marked perfectly inside that square, all the way down that ballot. And if you hold up the light, you don't see any lines where they were done with a pencil or a pen or anything else. It's just like it was printed on there. So I think we have enough that they can look at quickly. and maybe put this before the president. He can get a ban on either, blanket mail-in ballots, which is simply what we have in California. We send out. We have 116,000 voters. By the time we do all of the mail-outs, we mail out like 130,000 ballots.
Wow.
He had about
Well, Corrine,
57,000 people vote in this primary. About 57,000 people voted in this primary. So they don't know how many thousands of counterfeit ballots they have.
I think there'll be thousands,
unbelievable. Yeah. Well, we're going to
and there'll
continue to
probably
follow
be
this,
that.
and I'm so glad you both came on. Go ahead.
I say, and they're probably that way everywhere, but in most situations, no one's touching the ballots. You're just grabbing them, bagging them, and putting them through a machine. So counterfeit ballots at most places will be very hard to find. Well, not hard to find, but they won't be looking for them, and they'll just let them go through. So the fact that we actually touch ours to show them on the video is why we caught that.
Everyone needs a county clerk like you, Clint, because you
Yeah,
were on top of it. I'm telling you what, if they're going to figure out a way to cheat, it's always something different. We have to play offense, not defense, and we have to beat them to their own game. Because every time I turn around, I feel like every time I wake up in the morning, if it's a different way that they're finding a new way to cheat. So we'll stay on top of this. Corrine, I want to make sure that you and I stay in connection. Again, I want everyone to follow her social media page for these suspected counterfeit ballots in California. While I have you both, I want to talk about Measure B and take everyone back to June 26th. When voters in Shasta County voted on Measure B, it was approved by voters. This would require that elections be held in person on a single day, except for absentee voters. It would require voters to present a photo ID when voting in person. It would limit who can cast an absentee ballot. It would require that all ballots be hand counted at the precinct level and more. Election security is basically what Measure B is, and this is the results from that election. It passed 55.59%, but now Governor Gavin Newsom is not happy with what the voters want, and he now seems to be retaliating. What can y'all tell us about that?
Gavin Newsom started suing over Measure B. And it is the most shocking situation I've ever seen because Shasta County is a charter county and they have the right to have Measure B. And it was voted into law on June 2nd, 2026. And then 10 days later, Gavin Newsom and the SOS and Rob Bonta, the Attorney General of California, start suing over Measure B. So now listen, it gets a little complex and Clint can explain it, but the five supervisors of Shasta County will not pay to defend Measure B. So the people, they're called the Shasta Five, the people who wrote Measure B have to hire their own lawyer, Alexander Haberbush, one of the best lawyers in California, to defend Measure B. And it's in litigation right now. It's in the appellate court, correct, Clint?
Correct. And the county's eventually going to have to pay anyway. So this whole we're not going to pay to defend what the voters chose, that's an illusion. We have a terrible county council. I mean, terrible. He actually came to me and tried to bully me to perjure my testimony before the court that we couldn't roll it out, even though I'd already put out information that showed we could. I put out all the math and everything. So he's a bad county council, and he's the one leading him down this road to destruction.
He won't even talk to me, but Clint Curtis is ready to implement Measure B. He's a matter of fact, he could implement anything he needs to implement. His office is impeccable, and you would love to see his observation room. It is covered in American flags, beautiful seats. I mean, the way that Clint Curtis runs his office, I've been there for a week. My assistant was there for 10 days prior to that. This gentleman sitting next to me is incredible, and he is getting fully harassed by the local officials in the county of Shasta County, and it's not okay.
Seems like you're getting harassed, and the voters are as well from the state level. What does this tell you when the voters say we want secure elections and the governor comes in and says, no, I'm going to sue the county to make sure that this is not enacted? It means that, hey, we know that there's some shady business going on with our elections and we want to keep it that way, is what it tells me.
Agreed.
Absolutely. They don't want to give up that control. Right now, it's very hard to check anything. And if they give up that control, then, game's over.
Well, I think President Trump is going to care about this because if we find alleged counterfeit, fake, illegitimate, Homeland Security told me to call them illegitimate ballots. That is everything that President Trump has been talking about with respect to elections. President Trump thinks that there is foreign interference in our elections, and Clint Curtis can prove that. Hopefully, allegedly, potentially in Shasta County, California, which is Reading.
I, I wanted to tell you too. I actually ran this story the other day, and now I have you on the show, and I want to ask you about this. Tina Peters was offered a job. Gavin Newsom actually came out and said he's going to investigate this as well. He does not want Tina Peters in his state. He put on X that she should still be in jail. And Clint, you were the one that offered her the job. So I'm glad I get to talk to you firsthand about this. Tell me how you offered her the job and what position you offered her.
Well, I offer the job. Basically, she'd be doing the function of assistant registrar, so she'd be in charge of basically supervising. She'd have to come in as a consultant rather than an employee, because the county will slow walk the hiring process, and she'll never get in there. So she can come in as a consultant, and she'd be obviously she won't have any logins or anything because none of the consultants do, and that will help protect her from anyone who thinks she can do anything malicious. And so she'd be able to get in there and supervise people and help me perform this election with someone who's tough enough to take it. And Newsom complaining about these charges and the felonies. I think he's under investigation for a lot of fraud. If he gets convicted, does he never want someone to give him a job again? I mean, you got to let people up off the mat eventually.
And it was a little traumatic already, Vanessa, because there's a lot of Antifa in Redding, California. Just coming here today, I saw them on the freeway overpass. And the bottom line is that there's one Antifa that continuously attacks Clint's office, and he put in his own mucus and snot all over the windows. Sorry to say that. F Tina Peters, and that's unacceptable behavior. And the police won't do anything. We're going to make the sheriff do something, but the police won't do anything. So the Antifa is a very big problem, and they're actually threatening to burn down Clint's building with the alleged counterfeit ballots in it. So we need Homeland Security ASAP into Clint's office.
And we are actually looking at that video right now. Corrine, again, you posted this. You do such a wonderful job. And we're so glad that you're there on the ground following this every single day, as well as your assistant. But this is the office of the county clerk in Shasta County, where Antifa has already been attacking not only Tina, but also the office, also the windows there. And Corrine got great video here of just you can kind of see it on the windows there in her video. Some of the, I guess, slurs, Corrine, is what we're seeing.
Yes, you're seeing bad words that I would never say
Yeah. Well, that's
about
just a
Tina
dangerous
Peters.
and yes, just
Really
disgusting that
proves to you that
to really come to this.
It proves, Vanessa, that Antifa really is organized by the mayors and the Democrats in the cities and the counties where you see Antifa, because nobody would really know who Tina Peters is unless they were paid to know who she is.
Absolutely. Unless you follow along like we do every single day, the people who watch every single day and are really into the political realm of things know who she is. But your everyday people like the Antifa, they wouldn't know, like you said, unless they're paid to know. But to start wrapping things up here, again, appreciate you both coming on. But this counterfeit situation going on, we really need the feds to come in quickly and get a handle on this. So what comes next for y'all? We know, and we talked about Gavin Newsom has already sued. The feds know about it. They're talking to whistleblowers. Do we have about a timeline? What are we thinking comes up next in the next few weeks or even in the next month?
Well, they need to hurry because, the building may not last long if they don't. And beyond that, we have the 2024 election, which was before I was there, but there were all sorts of problems with it as well. So they might want to look at it. 50% of the ballots were actually duplicated with no observers allowed, which seems problematic just in that regard. But beyond that, the reason they were duplicated is because say there was an overspray issue, which means that there was something on the ballot that confused the scanner, except if you look at the ballots, you don't see anything. So you either have a problem where the scanner is seeing things that the human eye can't, which is a major problem because then you could put instruction sheets, you could make flips in it, you could do anything you wanted to in that, if that was actually true. Or maybe the ballots were counterfeit and they weren't done well enough that they could go through the process. And that may be why the machine was kicking them out. So those get destroyed on September 11th, and then they'll be gone because code requires them to be shredded. So it's got to be before that, or they're going to lose a big chance to balance things out.
Wow. Well, we'll stay on it. And again, I encourage everyone to follow Corrine. Corrine, if there's any updates, please come back on the show. Clint, of course, you're always welcome as well. I know you fight hard for election integrity with Mike Lindell, and so you're appreciated. Corrine, you're always appreciated as well. Thank you both so much. Continue the good fight out there in California.
Thank you, Vanessa. God bless you.